Alright, now you can see that we have put in this lighter gray wash underneath the tail. What we're going to do next is we're going to add a little bit of the dry brush, a little bit of the white along the edges under here. And then we're going to take some of this the top tail color that we've got, and we're going to put just a little bit of a shadow area around the tips of each one of the feathers where they overlay on each other. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a dry brush, which is this right here, and we're going to take just a little bit of the chest color that we use, which you can see, which is this color here. And we're going to take just a little bit of it and dry brush it off. I'm going to come right along the edge here and just a little too much so far, and just put just a little bit along the edge. And you'll notice that the more I stroke the brush back and forth along that, the lighter it starts to get. And that's what you're trying to achieve, is just that light spot along the edge. Okay, add just a little bit more color to it. And we'll have it going. Here we go. Okay, that's dry brushed in. Maybe just a little bit on the edge here. And we've got that dry brushed on. Now the next thing we'll do, let me clean out this dry brush and get it cleaned out, is because it's such a small area, I'm going to take some of this belly color that, the top of the tail color you saw here, and I'm going to take this very thin number 1 brush that I've got, and I'm going to add just a little bit to it, and I'm going to kind of try to dry brush right around the edges of these feathers to give it just a little. I obviously didn't get enough paint in my brush, and just put a little bit of a color right around the edge of these feathers right here. It creates just a little bit of a shadow. As you can see, I created just a little shadow right there. You can see it. I'm going to do the same thing around here. It's very, very subtle. As you can see, we've got just a little bit of shadow there. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And just come right around the edge of it right here. Very softly. This gives you like the illusion of the feathers layered one on top of the other. So we've got that done. Now what we can do next is we can come back with just a little bit of this breast color and paint in the shafts of these feathers under the tail, because they have a very, very light color to them. They're sometimes very, very easy to do because they're so tiny. There's 2 done there. Let's see if we can get the others done. There we go on that one. Okay, the shafts on these are done. As you can see, I've highlighted the shafts. So the undertail is completed. It is done. Now what we can start working on is starting to put in some of the detail. So we'll work on that in just a minute. We'll finish up some of this. I've got some spots that I've got to touch up, but other than that, when we come back, we'll start putting in some of the detail. Okay, the next process we're going to do is we're going to take some of the wing color and the tail color we got, and we're going to accent down the middle of some of the feathers to make it darker a little bit. And then we're going to add the accents. We're going to add down these middles here, and then we're going to add some accents to the tail edges that we've done before. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. And some of the tail color is this darkish color that we used before, but it's, as you can see here, it's the that we had before, and we're just going to make it real watery and kind of let it bleed into the center of the feather. Just go right down the center of it. It's not quite watery enough. Get a better view of it this way. You can see I'm putting some right down the center. And I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm just going to kind of go along and touch the edges just a little bit to make them fade into the color that's already there. And you can see that it's should be getting darker. And it is just a little bit, but I need to thin it out just a little bit more. Just run it right down the center. And that's the way we want it, just like that. You stay away from the edges of the feather and just do right down the center. And then we come back in and blend it out. Get rid of that edge. It looks like it's painted the same color, but once it darkens, it'll pull it back in. We do the same thing to the ones that show here just a little bit. And then we'll paint off the edge of that. Some of these are harder to see, so we'll just barely catch this tip with this one right here. Okay, got those. These are so small you won't be able to see them, so there's no sense in putting those in. But what we'll do next, after we clean this brush out, is we'll switch to a smaller brush that we've been using. And we'll take and we'll use, this is some of that belly color that we use. It's got a little bit of green in it, but other than that, we'll just use what's around it right here. And we'll clean some off the tip of the brush. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come right along this edge that we've done here before, like we did up on top of the wings here. We're going to come right around the edge of the tail and just pull a little bit right around the edge. And you notice I'm going back against the grain this way for the texture. That makes it doesn't let it flow into the texture lines. And that's what you want, is you just want it to skip across the top and just barely show that edge. Do it around the other side here. And don't be alarmed if it doesn't just cover everything right away. It doesn't really have to. There we go, just like that. Maybe just add a little bit more right here. And we're going to do that process to all these feathers until we get them done, and then we're going to move on up to the wings and work on them as well. As you can see, we just finished outlining the edges of the tail. We put the dark center down these tails that were visible. What we're going to do now is that we're going to put a raw umber wash, very thin, over the tops of these feathers. It's going to draw all this together and knock down some of this real brightness that you see here. so it'll blend it all together. And all we need to do is just take a large enough brush and a lot of water, and all I'm going to do is I've got some raw umber on a plate here, as you can see right here. I've got raw umber, and I'm going to, it doesn't take very much of it. I'm going to take that and I'm going to make it real wet. It's just going to be let me put the bird down here and I'll show you up close how I do this. I'm putting it in, and you look at the color. That's what you're looking at right there. That's very little paint and a whole lot of water. Like that right there. That's what you're seeing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that same color I just got, and I'm just going to go right over this tail and brush that onto it very lightly. In artistic circles they call this a glaze, but in bird paintings, things we call it a wash. And when I put that wash on there, see how it's dulled down everything and blended it all together. It's not real bright anymore. So we're going to do this eventually to other parts of the bird. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to put all the edges onto these feathers on the wings, do a wash over this whole thing here, and then we're going to start putting some detail into the face and the cape and the head and the cheek. And pretty soon we'll have us a completed bird. Okay, now the same process that we did on the tail of just putting the outline in is we're going to do the same thing to the back of the edges of the wings that are here. So we'll get that. We're going to pull this nice edge right around each one of these feathers. Just don't hiccup at this point. So what you'll do here is we'll go ahead and add all these edges onto these. I'm gonna add more paint to this. We're going to add the edges to all of these feathers. Like so. We're going to do this to all of these wing feathers on both sides, as you can see, on both sides of this. And then when we come back, we're going to put a wash over, which I'll show you. It's like we did on the tail and everything else to blend it all together. Okay, the next thing we're going to do to highlight this cape area back here that you see here, and some of the head and underneath the bib part, is we're just going to put a wash like we've done on the back here. It's going to be very thin with carbon black, and again it's just a whole lot of water and very little paint to it. As you can see right there, that's about the consistency we want right there. And so we just come over here and we just kind of run this off the edge of this. And if some of that gets off into the other area, not to worry about it, because it's gonna blend in real quick. Just watch out for the white area. Just go up around the edge of it very quickly, adding that in there. And just the whole idea is to let this sink into that black area and highlight the interior of the grooves that we've made, or the texture we've made on the back. And that's all we do there. The next thing we do is we take this same black that we've got and we come over here and we wash the head. like so. Put just a slight wash in it. And then we come under here, then we do the bib. And the actual bill will come back later with some straight carver black, not thinned down, and we'll paint it with black, and then we'll put the glaze over it that gives it a little bit of a sheen. And that is what we've got done. We've highlighted the back here. You can come back and add a little bit more to it in the back if you want to add. You can see the texture just pop out when you put that black wash on there. And that's what that does, is it gives it a sense of depth. So use your judgment on here, and you take it as far as you want it to go, and put that in there. And when it dries, it just dries to a nice little texture. And that's got that. And our next part we're going to do when we come back is we're going to actually go in and start putting the little hair-like textures in around the white and the gray areas to blend them all together.